recovery of 4.2 million pounds loot by the former governor of Delta State, James IBORI, addressing agitation. It is the crux of this segment. And you agree with me and also recall that James IBORI, who is presently an ex-convict, was charged of corruption charges were leveled against him, and that was in 2012. And he served the sentence and was released in 2017. And after all of this, the whole rise about the need to repatriate the funds that were stolen by the former governor from the UK became the eye of the storm in all of these discussions. And relating that, the UK government did say there are lots of money coming in the nearest future. And this is just the first tranche. We have over 100 million pounds spreading around the relatives of this former governor of Edo State and associates that will still be taken and hopefully repatriated. Now, discussing this with me, I have from my extreme left, the convener of Concerned Edo Citizens Forum, and he is the voice of the commoner, Roy Oribabo. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me. And
I still enjoy the presence of Ivado de Gospower. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
Well, I pose that question first to you because this whole issue about the fight against corruption as instituted by President Muhammadu Buhari seems to be gaining more momentum in this spark of repatriated fund that we hope to see in less than 2 weeks from now. Don't you see this as a welcome development in the fight against corruption?
It's not as a result of fighting corruption that the money that was looted from this country, that they are repatriating the money, but it's not as a result. These are just natural diplomatic relations, based on natural diplomatic relations. There's nothing about fighting corruption in that regard.
But the federal government did make sure that they interact and they also face the whole government of UK to ensure that the money is repatriated.
It is not even about interaction. Those are natural things. Okay. You know, you see what does not belong to you, you have to return. You have not bearing, have nothing to do with fighting corruption. Let us get the issue right. Okay. You understand? My own concern about the issue is that, which is the subject matter, it is the who now owes the loot. I think that is my
recovered loot.
Yeah, the recovered loot. So, to me, the recovered loot belongs to the commoners of this country.
Not the Delta State.
No, because we have degenerated to this level where we cannot pretend to eat our cake and have it. You recall, some of us believe in that issue. I said when money was recovered from Bayelsa, was given back to Bayelsa. When it was recovered from
Plateau,
it was given to but when I want details to find out what really happened, why this government, Nigerian government, said this money belongs.
What makes this different?
Belongs to all of us. You know, what makes it to be different is that the Attorney General of Delta State went to the United Kingdom, deposed one affidavit that 1 naira was not missing in the coffer of Delta State. You cannot eat your cake and have it. When I look at that principle, when I look at that, I say, wow, you really mean it that Delta State embark on a voyage over 6 hours on air to go to United Kingdom?
To declare that?
To declare that, the people of Delta State supposed to stand up on this arrangement and open their mouth and tell the government that you have neglected us, you have mortgaged us. Why we have you seen it? Have you seen it? That you said your money was not missing. That was your point of defense. What we expect naturally, if we're in a country where there is shame, if we were in a country where people are very serious, I see no reason why Delta State, after that submission they initially made, as in their defense, I see no reason why they should also be interested in their money. Even within your household, if your wife asks you at times, oh, that money they with you shall not get any money. If you take your money for pocket, you find it difficult to come out and say my money is missing. We have seen this scenario the other time. Therefore, Nigeria government, the only area I'm not so happy with Nigeria government is not to be telling us that this money will go to
for the construction of the second Niger Bridge, Lagos Ibadan Expressway.
Those are just
Abuja.
I don't want to hear that. The money recovered and still repatriated to Nigeria belong to the commoners. The commoners, the powers of the poor supposed to enjoy that money.
But the commoners will also enjoy the project.
That we are not looking at this project.
The projects are going to be enjoyed by the commoners more.
Do you know how much?
It's going to boost the economy. It's going to alleviate poverty.
My brother, this is not the first time we are talking about the Abuja like Kaduna way, Lagos, Ibadan. Do you know how much money have been committed into those structures that yet no result? Now people are dying. There is too much hunger and poverty in the land. The commoners, they need that money. What the government should do now immediately is to set up a committee. Disburse this money to the commoners.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Send it to their accounts.
Send them, let the commoners benefit from it. The data say have no comes on this case to say that the money should come to. Well, but if you want to argue sentimentally with some of us in that issue, we argue sentimentally that the money belongs to the data say. But on a real sense, the money does not belong to federal government. The money does not belong to data say. The money now belongs to the commoners, and the government should set up a machinery to distribute and allocate this money to the commoners. That's my position.
Okay. According to the Article 35 of the UN Convention, it stated that once proceeds of corruption is gotten, the victims should be compensated. And now the federal government did say through the Attorney General of the Federation, Malami, that the federal government is the victim. While others are saying no, the Delta state government and the Delta people are the victims. But you just heard what he said. He said they can't even lay claim to it. What do you make of this thought?
It is very unfortunate, personally. It's so unfortunate that this is where we have found ourselves in this country. I want to ask, why is it now that the British government have decided to be magnanimous to repatriate loot of IBORI? 1. 2, are they saying that it's only the loot of James Onanefe IBORI that they have in the British bank accounts? We don't have any other politicians who have embezzled and domiciled their money, our money, into that place.
So you think they are taking it
so
personal?
For me, why James Onanefe IBORI? 3, it is a fight of 2 looters fighting over a loot. Hello? 2 looters fighting over a loot. Do you know why I put this concept in this manner? Is this the first money to be repatriated to this country? I'm asking you. Is this the first money to be repatriated? But
it would be wrong if you even make mention of the fact there are 2 looters, because in the first place, we don't know who the 2 looters are. Basically, I don't think you are referring to the federal government.
I am still talking. You know, we try as much as possible to be mindful of our words. Now we come there, sir. At this point, let me digress a little. In social sciences, there's what we call national interest. And we were told that there is nothing like national interest. It is the interest of those in government. Hello, sir. And you said just now that an attorney general traveled to depose to an affidavit saying
nothing was missing.
Nothing was missing. That is where the national interest of those in power comes in. It will be an anathema to natural justice, equity, and fair play if we, in our right senses, sit here to say that that money is not the state money. We are not fair.
We are not fair
at all. Personally, I'll tell you what. If you bring the money to federal government, like I said before, there have been so many recovered loot, Sani Abacha recovered loot. Can the federal government point to a specific project saying that this was what we were able to achieve via the loot that were recovered? If that is no, are we also sure that those atomized projects will be realized? My brother, let us not rub it out to people. The money should go back to Delta State. I will tell you why. Even the state government will also not come to tell you at the end of the day that this was what we were able to achieve through the proceeds we recovered. They will still not say so. That was why I said that the looted funds will be relooted and again transported back to that same Britain.
So it's like the kettle calling the pot black.
It is the same thing, so my brother. So what the issue is, you know why? Because Kamal said, when an error is left uncorrected, it will now become an intellectual immorality.
It becomes a norm.
Now, if we do not agree that that money belongs to Delta State, we'll continue to progress in error. How many federal appointments did IBORI get? None to my knowledge. Of course, I may be short on that. If there was looted funds, it was Delta State's money that was looted, whether we like it or not. And these are people who, on the basis of the national resources, a lot of communities in Delta State today does not have water to drink. A lot of communities in Delta State today does not have good education. A lot of communities today, they cannot fish. There are issues, although I want to say that that money will be used to ameliorate all this. Oh, no. But we are saying, if for a stranger to inherit my father's property, let the heir to the throne of my father inherit that property. If he decides to embezzle it or squander it, it is his inheritance.
Okay, I'll come back
That's
to you.
my argument.
I'll come back to you. Now, Roy, there's this whole picture being painted, and you made mention of the fact that, which is already known facts, where the money that were looted from Plateau State was also returned to Plateau. And then that of Bayelsa, Lameshiga, was also returned to Bayelsa. Now, some are saying that, like he just said, the federal government said that the reason why the Delta State can't lay claim to it is because the Delta State government was not involved in the recovery. One. And secondly, the offense committed wasn't a local offense, it was an international and a federal government offense. But is that enough to exclude the Delta State government from possessing it? Or shouldn't it have been this way, that some part of the money will go to the Delta State government while the federal government keeps on?
My brother, the issues are very direct. Those, as far as I'm concerned, even with the position of the federal government that Nigeria is a sovereign state, you don't expect Delta State to have a negotiating power with the United Kingdom. It's not done anywhere. It will be a fundamental error for Delta State to now overrun Nigeria at the international scene. It's not possible.
But it was done in the time of Joshua Darie.
That
it was the federal government that also negotiated.
Of course,
it was given to
it
was done in the time of Alameshiga. It was the federal government that negotiated. And it was given to Bayelsa State. What makes this different?
The difference I'm telling you now is that the Attorney General of Delta State embarked on a voyage from Nigeria to United Kingdom with taxpayers' money. To go and depose
is that enough?
To go and depose on affidavit.
Is that enough?
Don't forget
the fact that the Delta people are already being impoverished. You know, don't you think that plight should have been taken into consideration?
As at that level, you are not looking for Nome to Toto. You are not looking for Isaac to Toto. You are looking for Delta State government. When you have a government, the formation of government that you have given your personal sovereignty to your government to manage. That is the essence of government. Then they now speak and act on your behalf. And that is the reason why we say the Constitution says that the primary function of government is the welfare and the security of the citizens. Therefore, you cannot be talking about particular issue about data, looking for. They have to look for the government of Delta State. As Ade, who was managing and presiding over Delta State, they send a representation to a court in the United Kingdom. It's not a verbal word. They deposed an affidavit that one error was not missing. My brother, let's get it right. The people of Delta State, what I expected to do by now It is to go to the government house and demand for compensation from government house, because it was an error on the level of that government house at that time. It was an error. We cannot now come back to now be asking that the money be not to debtor. The Bayelsa State scenario, it was a different scenario, because those persons in debtor, they met in Bayelsa, they met a study signing. They did not send any representation. When we expect debtor state, because of their busybody, they quickly ran to United Kingdom to go and be deposited to them. They thought that when they do that, that the man that hit out to hold them to the level that they cannot breathe is the man they went to go and defend. And that is the same man who is still very powerful as at this level. So as he talking, he's still powerful at the level of government and governance in debtor state. You don't expect that money to come to debtor state, my brother. People must get it out. If we want to argue in terms of sentiment, the money can come to debt. But if we want to follow based on records, based on constitutionality, based on what is right, the money does not belong to debtor. That's the reason why I'm saying, one, the money does not also belong to federal government. Yes, the money does not belong to federal government.
But you know what you are saying there? It won't be possible.
Why will it not?
It's not where you are saying that they should credit the accounts of the impoverished.
Are you aware?
In the time of the COVID-19,
no, even before,
even in the pandemic, we are still in the pandemic.
Are you aware that some
at the beginning of the lockdown, at the lockdown, we had a challenge.
Are you aware that Abacha's loot was shared to the commoners in the north? Are you aware? It was managed by some NGO. I can confidently mention a name like my very good elder brother, David Ongolo. He was among that committee. Money was distributed and allocated to the poorest of the poor from Abacha's loot. He did not. We are saying, with the commoners from the south now, if we want to be very well, since the money, we will not be agitating, and that is our position. That the money, they have to narrow it down to the people of South. The commoners, not to go and hand over it to debtors. It will be an error. And a both generation will question the integrity of this government if they back on that kind of mission.
Okay. Are you by this saying that you think it will be more beneficial to the citizenry for the money to be given to them directly?
My brother,
that's for projects that will be beneficial, that will stand the test of time, and that will serve posterity.
As of today, now you look at the exchange rate, that money is 500 billion. If converted, it's 500 billion naira. More than 500 billion naira. Therefore, when you now look at the commoners within the street, within the environment, from the locals, I say let them benefit from this money. Because those roads you are talking about, those second Niger bridge, those roads will continue to dilapidate. We will continue to construct roads in this country. People are dying. There are families now that are down. They lack 1,000 naira in their house. There are people who need this money more than the government. We don't want this money to go to the government. One, the reason for this is that one, any other state, if data said this money does not go to the state, one, any other state will need a lesson. That in any case like this arises, they will not be acting as a busybody. They will not be, rather they should maintain a study side. And that is what we expected from Delta State. They did not do that. In Plateau State, they just maintained it. They did not send any representation. In Bayelsa, they did not send any representation. But Delta did not only send a representation, they also utilized the taxpayers' money to finance that man going to the United Kingdom to go and depose for affidavit. My brother, we are not in a banana republic. Okay, no matter how the situation, no matter the situation we find ourselves.
Okay, Gospel, you seem to suggest otherwise. But do you see the Delta State government having the local stand-by after all that has been raised to really lay claim?
As the Delta State government lay claim, as we speak.
We're yet to see.
Because I was,
so
they do not, like he said,
they've lost the local standard.
Not to say, like I said before, if you depose to an affidavit and what you have deposed is not true, the Constitution has made provision for sanctions. You should not go. That's double jeopardy. On the people of Delta State, double jeopardy. One, their money was stolen. Two, because one man committed an offense in the person of the Attorney General, you want to again use that again to punish them again. No, the man who has gone to depose to an affidavit should be punished. One, the person, if it was the governor, I'm aware, I'm sure that it is that institution of governance who was responsible in that very dastardly act, and that is why they are very ashamed to honor, and they are sponsoring personalities to quickly do that. If we were to be in a sane society, as we speak just now, the Attorney General would have been arrested. That is fraud. He is a lawyer. He knows what it means to lie before an oath. Philip, am I not, you think not to understand what I'm saying?
You seem to be making sense.
What am I talking about? So, if we now begin to punish the innocent, because as I told you before, that there is no national interest, that the national interest is the interest of those in power. And that is what you have just seen them displayed.
Okay.
So for me, it will be an error, like I said, ab initio of my discussion, that if you now say that because one man embarked on a voyage to go and tell a lie before an oath, as a result of that, the debtor people should suffer.
Yes.
I think
that's the challenge.
Let me quickly correct you. Let me quickly correct you. He cannot reduce debtor state government to one man show.
Oh,
it's very unfortunate.
It is because not me. I'm not the one reducing it.
No, our government was in court.
Everybody cannot represent the government.
A community in Nigeria was sent out to Cameroon because of action of our government as at then. Then can we now go back to say because it's a one-man show? That is what he's trying to establish.
Okay, no.
You will not say
if you bring it down, if you bring it down, let me tell you, there was a document.
There's a representation.
In the bilateral relationship of states, sir. In bilateral relationship of states, there are documents, there are negotiations. And in the course of the Civil War, because of how very, very lucrative that place was, and they needed to use that place to persecute the war. That was why the leaders of state at that point ceded it. There was document. Government is continuing. If God's power, as the head of Nigeria, as it were, sit down today with a government of Benin Republic to sign a treaty, to sign an agreement, then because God's power is no longer in government, you will now tell me that agreement will no longer be
because you are saying that man,
that is what I'm telling you. Okay, now government in itself, sorry sir, government in itself, we all cannot be in government. I'm telling you, why are we crying today? We are crying today because the people who we have asked to go and speak our mind are speaking their minds. Hello, people who have, and of course, and that is why today.
So you mean to say that we are being misrepresented?
We are in a state of serious anarchy, mental anarchy. Why? Because politics today has been seen to be the best flourishing business in our time. Are you getting me? So, what in short, let me tell you, that Attorney General was not even aware of the account. He did not see the account details of the.
As we come to as we wrap the show, as in the discussion segment, let's look at this aspect where some are also saying that the government should be mindful enough to seek the interest of the Delta people in all of this. As in the projects that it tends to really facilitate with that amount of money, you can use, because we are expecting more funds, not just the 4.2 million pounds. We are expecting more. It can also use, the government can also use that directly by funding projects in Delta State in order to benefit the Delta people. Is that not the right way to go? Because you are the voice of the common. You say you are the voice of the common. Isn't that the another right thing to do by the federal government?
Listen to me. If you listen to my brother here, he said he's scared so that the money will not be reloaded.
Of course it will be reloaded.
Therefore, and that's the reason why we are formulating this theory, that this money will not go to Delta State, and it does not supposed to go to Delta State.
No, even if it doesn't go, but the government can sponsor projects.
What government
that will be done in Delta State for the Delta people.
And that's the reason why I look at the management, those who are presiding over the government of Delta State. I look what this issue, man, what I expected of them to do. If it was a government that was thinking, they will pay the service of lobbyists. Let them go and lobby the federal government. Then all these noise we have, go and lobby this government that we have air. But this money, we still need it. And then they will not come up with a sharing formula. If the federal government, yes, there's a lobby separate. If you are to be in the United States, and you see they will pay the service of a lobby, who will go and lobby on their behalf. Okay. Then this issue will not resolve. But because the government, we have people in government, with due respect to them, who are not thinking, They believe that they know it all. That is the reason why we are saying we are where we are. If you are saying that money should be used in data now, take the money to Desert State for a project. Who is he going to preside over it? Is it not the same people who were there to say one naira was not missing? But what that shows to me is that to quickly say, "Oga, your money don't come. Take your money." And heaven will not fall. We will start in this process again. Let them. The only solution here, and which I believe very divine and also very superlative, is that this money, a committee should immediately be set up by federal government with concerned NGOs and look for a way to distribute, allocate these resources to the commoners within the South Africa.
Thank you very much.
Let us benefit from this money.
Thank you very much, Royal Rivabor.
Thank you for having
coming. Royal Rivabor is the voice of the commoner and also the convener of the Concerned Edo Citizens Forum. Big thanks for taking our time.
Thank you for having me.
Big thanks for taking our time also, Ibadude Godspower. Thank you for taking our time to be part of this show. Well, this will call it a wrap on this segment. It's the TMI. Don't you go away.